All right, welcome back to in the journey. Welcome back to the journey of improving my communication skill. So let's dive into this. 3 months later, did you just put your hand on mine? She whispered, but loud enough for people around us in the movie theater to look our way. Accidentally, I said, learning big English word. Are we? She said, I am trying. Mr. Madhavja, you have come to see a movie. Focus on that. I am trying, I said again. I turned my attention back to Shahrukh Khan. He had rejoined college and was singing Main Hoon Na to anyone in need of reassurance. We had come to the Odeon Cinema in Connaught Place. Ria had finally agreed to see a movie with me. She had lost a basketball bat. She had challenged me to score a basketball from half court in one try. Now, that will be a super shot, she had said. What do I get? A movie treat? You cannot do it. I had given in a try and failed in the first week. Half court shots are tough. I couldn't do it in the next 2 weeks either. See, even destiny doesn't want to go to out, she had said. In the fourth week, I put in all the focus I had and made my shot. The basketball hit the ring, circled around it twice, and fell in the basketball. Yes, I screamed. Even though she had lost the bet, she clapped. So, do I get the date? I said. It's not a date. We just go for a movie like friends. Isn't that what high class people call a date? No. What's that date then? You want to see the movie with me or not? She had said, her hand on her lips, the hand on her hips. The hand on her hips pose means no further question. In the 3 months I had known her, I knew she hated being pushed. I thought maybe that was how rich people are, somewhat private. We override the familiarity in our village anyways. Now, as Shahrukh Khan continued his song, I wonder what I meant to her. We meet in a college every day and ended up having tea at least 3 times a week. I did most of the talking. I would tell her stories from the residence or reads as the student call them, the fancy word for hostels in Stephens. I was in Rudra North and told her tales of messy rooms, late night carom matches, and the respect we need to show seniors. She listened intentionally, even smiled sometimes. When I asked her about her home, she didn't say much. Back in Back in Dumro, it is unthinkable for friends to not share any detail about themselves. High class people have this concept called space, which means you cannot ask them question or give them opinion about certain aspect of their lives. Am I special to her? I keep asking myself. Sometimes I saw her chatting with other guide and felt insanely jealous. My instances in, in My insistence on seeing a movie together was to find out what Ria Somani really thought of Madhoja. I had held her hand to figure out where I stood. Given her reaction, nowhere. In fact, she removed her hand from the armrest for the rest of the movie. She seemed upset even though she never said a word. She kept watching the film. Is everything okay? I said. She sipped her drink in silence. We had walked from the Odeon to Caventon's, famous for its milkshakes sold in glass bottle. Oh, she said, indicating a yes. I hated this response of her. We had finished two-thirds of our milkshake without talking to each other. She looked straight ahead, lost in thought. I felt she would cry if poked. I am sorry. What? She said, surprised. About placing your hand on yours, I said. I didn't want my stupid movie to backfire. When? During the movie, I don't remember that, she said, interrupting me. Oh, I said, felt a wave or relief run through me. Then why do you upset now? Never mind, she said. Silent Ria typical response. She brushed aside a stand for hair from her face. Why don't you ever tell me anything, I said, my voice a mixture of plea and protest. She finished her musette and placed the empty bottle on a table, ready to go. She said instead, Ria, we need to talk about, am I only good enough to play basketball with? What? We meet, play it and talk, but you never share anything important with me. I don't share much about my life with anyone, Madhav, and I just anyone. A waiter arrived to collect the empty bottle. She spoke only after he left. You are a friend. So, so what? I have many friends. I don't share stuff with them. Am I just like every other friends of yours? Is there nothing special about me? She smiled. Well, you do play basketball better than anyone else. I stood up. I didn't find her funny. Hey, wait, Ria pulled me down again. I sat down with a stern expression. Why do you want to know about my life? She said. It's matter to me. Unlike your other friends, I can tell if something is bothering you. And if something is bothering you, it bothers me. I want to know things about you, okay? But getting you to talk is like a dentist pulling teeth. She laughed and interrupted my rant. I had a fucked up family. What do you want to know? She said. I looked at her, puzzled and astonished at her choice of word. More than anything, I could not associate any family with a BMW to be fucked up. Her life met mine, perhaps for a final check to see if I deserve her trust. Let's go for a walk, she said. Her push, her plus car dropped us off at India Gate. The soft evening sun cast long shadow for the monuments and of us on the red stone pavement. We walked the mile-long distance all the way up to Rashtrapati Bhavan on these roads far away from Bihar. In India did not come across a poor country. Pigeons flocked the sky and the government babus from nearby offices scurried about, both trying to reach home before it got dark. We walked together, at least our shadow appears to hold hands. I don't open to people. At most, I keep a journal, and even that is rare. You know, I am a quiet person, Ria said. I understood. Thanks. The problem is my family. They are obsessed with money. I am not. That's a good thing, right? I don't know. Also, I don't matter. My brother do because they will take over the business one day. I am supposed to shut up, get married, and leave. The high point of my life is to have kids and shop, and that's not what do you want. No, she almost shouted. You know me better than that, don't you? Sorry. Sucks being a girl in this country. I tell you, sucks. You means upset. Did something happen today? I told them I want to study music after college. They want me to marry in some rich Marwari, Marwari family like and live like a queen. I don't want to live like a queen. That is not what I dreamed of. Trust me, kings and queens are overrated, I said. She remained silent. What do you want, Ria? Do you have a dream? Well, dream sucks. You get attached to them and they don't come true. Sometimes they do. Not in my case. What is your dream? I asked again. She looked at me. You will laugh. Try me. She smiled. Okay. So I have this dream. I want to play music and singing in a bar in New York. Wow. What? You think it's stupid? Right? No. That's quite a specific. Singing in a bar in New York. Yes. That's it. I don't want to be a famous singer or a rock star. I don't want to marry a billionaire. I just want to sing in a peace surrounded by passionate people. I want to own a house in Manhattan. My house filled with books and music CDs. I want to play basketball on weekends. I don't want to check out a dozen lehengas for my engagement. Sound like you have it all figured out. Not really. Maybe it's just an escapist fantasy, but I have had it since I was 12. She had gone to New York, the city blew me away. I saw people who loved what they do. I saw people who loved what they do. They weren't rich but happy. And there was this lady in a bar. She sang from her heart, unaware of everything around her. The sun was setting and the sky turned from orange to dark grey. We had now reached at the point near Raspati Bhavan where Delhi police guard tell you to stop and turn around. She continued to tell me about her New York trip. In fact, I took up basketball because I saw an game NBA game live at Madison Square Garden in New York. You have seen an NBA game live? I said. Yeah, the atmosphere it's electric. You should see one sometimes, Madhav. I surged. Anyway, I like your dream. Yeah, I said it's doable, not real. Unreal, like she said. Like becoming a top actress or the prime minister, you just want something simple. She smiled. Nothing is simple for a girl in a family like mine, she said. She walked in a silence for a few minutes. I feel better, she said after a while. What? She looked at me. The last of the daylight tint her face orange, making her look ethereal. Ethereal. I wanted to give her a hug. I feel better after talking to you. Thanks. She smiled. The sun vanished and the road became dark. Her skin glowed in the amber light of Rajpath. I took a chance and held her hand. Another accident, she said, but I did not pull her hand away. We laughed together. She spoke again. Even my uncles are the same. Everyone sides with my parents. She continued to talk and I continued to listen, even though my entire attention was on how lovely her hands fell to mine. And after our movie date, we started to spend even more times together. During lunch break, would sit in the college lawns and eat home cooked food from her house. She brought an elaborate Marwari thali in a three-tiered tiffin box. House food in this range, she said. Not as good as the Somani's cafe, I said. We sat facing at the red bricks college building. The winter sun warmed us as well as her cold tiffin box. I ate three of her four chapatis and most of palak dal along with it. She never touched the sweet churma. I ate it with plastic spoon. How's your room? She said. Like any other res room, basic book, basketball, and bed bed lines. Do you keep it clean? I shook my head and grinned. What? You don't clean it regularly once a week? Awful. I don't have six servants like you do, Miss Ria. I wanted to see your room. You can't. I said girls are not allowed. I know, just kidding, she laughed. How's your family? I said. Same, my brother, uncle, cousin, and uncles are busy planning how to increase their wealth. The women are grussing over their last shopping trips or figuring out which marriage to attend next. Good, everything is normal then, I said. I bought a guitar, she said. Nice. Yeah, I barely talk to anyone at home. Me and my guitar, we are happy. You talk to me, I said. Even though you eat all my lunch, she said and smacked the side of my head. Do you like me? I said. She had heard this too many times. Not again, Madhav, please. She lay down on the grass. She wore a white and a maroon salwar kameez and a black cashmere cardigan, which she had removed and placed on the grass next to her. She scrunched her eye to avoid the sun. I shifted and sat in front of her so my shadow would cover her face. Ah, that's nice. That's that sadity, thank you. People in college talk about us, how we are always together, I said. So let them, as long as we know there is nothing between us. I tilted my body sideways in protest. The sun was back on her face. What? She said and covered her eyes with her hand. Where did my tree go? The tree is not feeling appreciated. What do you mean? Why is there nothing between us? I said, my upper body is still bent to the side. Should there be first? Can we sit like you were sitting before so people don't think you are weird and my dedicated skin can be protected from the sun? I sat up straight once again, better. She said, I need a pillow. Move forward, please, tree. She put her hand in my lap. Nice. Now, what do you want? Pillow tree. I had many such arguments with her over the past month. She had become the expert at dodging the issue, always getting away with some nonsense like now. Give me your cardigan, I said. Why are you cold? It's girl sweater. Pillow tree, she said and giggled. I placed the sweater over my head. I hid my face. What? She said. I said nothing. Are you sulking, my tall tree? She said. I didn't respond. She pulled the sweater towards her face so that both our face came under. Yes, sulky man, what's the issue? She said, her face upside down and huge. Given that is what's so close to mine. I did not respond. She blew on my face and but I did not react. Everyone here must be finding this so creepy, she said. Our faces under the sweater. Nobody cares, I said. I thought you said everyone's talk about us. I let out a grunt of protest. She laughed. I thought, aimed and bent. In a second, I managed to place my lips on her, despite her face being upside down. My Spider-Man kiss like that. It isn't easy. I wouldn't advise it if you are kissing someone for the first time. She sprang up as she rose. Her forehead hit my chin. I bite my tongue. Hey, she said, not fair. I held my mouth in pain. Her forehead had hurt me so badly, still the pain paled in comparison to the joy I felt from landing my first kiss. Are you hurt? She said. I made a face. Listen, I am sorry, but what was that? She said. A kiss? I know. What for? I felt like it. She stood up, collected her tiffin box, and walked away. I ran behind her. She ignored me and walked faster. I held her arm. She stopped and glared at me until I let go. She stared to walk away again. I am sorry, okay? I said and block her way. I thought you liked me. Mother, please understand I am not comfortable with all this. I really like you, Ria. You mean so much to me. You are the reason I have survived in this place. So appreciate what you have. Don't spoil it. What do we have? What am I to you? If we kiss, we have something. If we don't, then nothing, she said. I keep quiet. She looked at me for a second. She shook her head in disappointment, turned and walked off. I saw her reach the main gates and get inside her blue car. Only then did I realize I still held her cardigan in my hand. I didn't know if she would come to play basketball with me after the cardigan incident. To my surprise, she did. All swaddled in a new night top and white shirt. We played without much conversation. Usually, we would stop to chat every 5 minutes. Today, we focused on the ball like a soldier does in combat with the enemy. I am sorry, okay, I said. Playing with her wasn't so much fun as before. It's fine, she said. Let's not talk about it again. I put on a sorry faces for the next 20 minutes. Finally, I held my ears and stood in the center of the court. It did the tricks, yes, my sorry. I also overreacted, she said. Finally, friends, she said, ban this word. I tell you, yes, friends, I said. She came forward to hug me. I gently pushed her away. What are you doing? She said. It's not comfortable with this. Please don't spoil what we have. I said, mocking her high strung tone. I stomped my feet and walked off the court. She followed me. Ignore girls and they can't leave you alone, strange. I didn't look at her. She spoke from behind. Okay, I get it. I am a girl and I am allowed some drama sometimes. Really? Well, I said sorry too. Whatever. By the way, your cardigan is still with me at the residence. So please get it to college tomorrow. It's my favorite. You want to you want to come pick it up? You want to see my room, right? I said. She raised an eyebrow. Really? But how? There is a system. It involves me making the guard happy while you rush inside. You will sneak me in, she said, her eyes opening wide. You won't be the first girl to come to the residence. We walked towards the brick lined path to Rudra North. She stopped a few steps back. I reached Rudra. What if we get caught? She said. I will be expelled. But they will spare you. You are a girl and your father will have enough contact. So let's do it, I said. I went up to the guard. I followed the code, told him to check out a problem in the bathroom and slipped her 50 rupees. He had done it for others before, so he quickly understood. He saw Ria in the distance. Is she from the outside or a student? The guard said. What do you care? I said. Just in case there is any trouble later. Will there be trouble? No. Make sure she leaves in 30 minutes. No guarantee with the new guard.